Hi guys, Shell here.
Hello, Chris.
We are part of Q2 Paranormal. Brittany and JJ is in the chat with us tonight. How is everybody tonight? Chris, how are you tonight?
I'm doing great.
Doing good. Let's see. What can we talk about in Q2 hour tonight?
I guess we can talk about the Fairfield Infirmary.
The Fairfield Infirmary. I always say it wrong. Fairfield Infirmary. Actually, it's in Lancaster, Ohio. And did you have fun? I had fun.
I had a great time.
I have some notes here about the location, just in case they didn't catch it live or anything about the infirmary. It was an old building.
Yes, very old.
It was built in 1828. It was a former hospital. It was a poorhouse. And I think towards the end, it was the offices for the county. I think they did some remodeling when they made it into the office buildings. But it was labeled as the Black Mark by the community.
Yes.
And I can see why it was labeled that.
Due to the way that it was ran by the superintendent and the treatment that everyone got that was there.
Yeah. So, yeah, even, I don't know.
Hearing some of the stories about the place, just very sad and overwhelming.
Yeah, and suicides as well. Basically, if you checked in there, you didn't check out. And I actually read later on where there were people who were born there, raised there, and died there. So they never even made it to see the outside world. And that's really sad.
And most people that came there never left there.
Yeah. And let's see. Yeah, so some actually was born, raised, and died there. So they never even made it outside.
Some were sent there and never left and passed away there.
Yeah, like the asylum in Weston here, back in those days, you were admitted for really insane reasons, like
Didn't even really need a reason. Somebody could just say that.
just not want you.
Yeah.
Children that they didn't want, somebody with mental defects. Husbands could admit their wives were being crazy or being PMSing. I mean, that was a reason. Just silly reasons to be admitted to these places. Also, if you were homeless, I read where they took in homeless people, people who couldn't afford to live on their own. But
it was like a poorhouse.
Yeah, that's where the poorhouse reference comes in.
Mm-hmm.
Later on, when they remodeled it, it was given a new name. It was called the Clarence E. Miller Building. I think that's when it was the city offices. They renamed it to that. But in 1851, let's talk about the superintendent. There was two of them that I know of. I don't think one of them was bad, but I think the first one was.
There was Samuel Fetter and Jay Braden.
Jay Braden. I'm glad you remember those names because I already forgot them. But yeah. So the first superintendent was very evil to the patients there. Just horrible treatment. He would take them out and work them in the fields on the property and beat them while they were out there.
They didn't even have to be working. He would literally just take them outside the building, dragging them, and beat them right outside the building.
Yeah, it was very sad. Chains. You and JJ got to go up in the room known as the chains. Do you want to tell them about the chains? Like, what was, like, the actual chains?
They chained people to the wall and leave them there. Chained to the wall, couldn't move. I mean, it was just nasty. You could see where some of the hooks where the chains would go to were ripped out of the walls. Some were still in the wall, pulled loose.
Yeah, so as punishment, they would be chained to the walls in the attic. And I think they were also chained in the jail cell, but I'm not sure. It looked like there was a set of hooks there where hooks were at.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, JJ and Chris both did solos up in the attic, also known as the chains, because that's where most of the chains were at. So we're going to see that tonight in the Q2 hour. So the superintendent, yeah, he was very evil to these people. And in 1851, 31 neighbors of the infirmary went to the town and basically ratted the superintendent out and told the town that he was abusing the patients out in the field specifically. And I think that brought an end to his reign there at the infirmary. And then somebody else took over.
I believe so.
I'm not sure which man was in control of it at which time. Which one was the bad one? Did you ever determine that while we were there?
They never really. The only time a name was given was during the spirit box session in the parlor. And it said superintendent and a name, which you'll see later in the video we're going to show you.
Yeah.
But we went to both places that we know that the superintendents coerced in, and both places we got activity. One was a little more, I wouldn't say chatty, but had more to say and a little more aggressive. And you'll see the difference in both spirit box sessions in these two rooms.
Yeah.
And he definitely was not a nice man. He didn't like me. He got mad after I told all the spirits there that they were free now, that they could leave. They could make him leave. And Shell told him the same thing. Shell got some feedback about a couple of things that she asked during spirit box sessions as well as me. I think JJ got a couple answers during spirit box sessions. So
Yeah. He had he got some evidence up in the attic on his solo, I know, that we're going to watch tonight. So, as far as paranormal activity, reports of voices, reports of apparitions, being touched, poked, and prodded. What else? A 7-foot shadow figure in the attic.
That would just melt into the floor and be gone.
Right. Let's see, what other? Room 322, known for apparitions. Jail cell where 20 to 30 people at a time would be locked in this little tiny, and it was a tiny room. What do you think?
Yes.
A tiny jail cell.
Later, when we get the whole episode put together, you will see we actually captured that jail cell opening while we were gone, not even there.
Right.
We come back to the door standing wide open and questioned whether we shut it. And some of the people that caught the live of this event that we had for the infirmary confirmed that we shut that door. So
yeah. We'll go over different spirits and stuff as the show goes on. But we want to start out the show. We were mentioning JJ in the attic, also known as where the chains are. The chains. We refer to it as the chains. Chris and JJ both had solos at the location. I was on command center. So right now we're going to break and we're going to show you a short 2-minute clip of JJ and his solo investigation. I believe, what is it that he caught here? Let's set it up for everybody.
There's a voice that they will hear, and I don't know if you'll be able to hear it in this video, but on my computer with the surround sound, you can also hear footsteps after the voice. 2 different sets.
So what does the voice say specifically?
You can't make it out. It's too...
Can't make it, but it's a woman's voice.
It's got a woman's tone for sure.
It does sound like me. Multiple occasions at this location, the boys kept telling me they kept hearing my voice. This is one of those occasions where JJ thought it was me saying something. And at the time, I was all the way down at command center. On
2 floors down.
2 floors down. He was 2 floors up. Even if I was talking, there's no way he could have heard me. So you actually hear him say in the clip, "Shell, did you say something?" And you'll hear me come across the walkie and say, "No." So here we go, guys. This is the first clip of the night. This is JJ.
Can you please make one of my devices go off just to let me know you're here, or light up that flashlight? Shell, were you just talking?
Nope.
Okay, I just picked up a female's voice up here. Is that you talking to me?
So that was JJ in the attic, also dubbed the Chains. Um, there was a long, what seemed like pause at the end, or a long bit of footage. And the reason that is because on our system with the headphones, you can hear footsteps. You may not be able to hear it with just your computer speakers, but if you want to, you can put in your earbuds, headphones, whatever, crank up the volume, and you will hear footsteps like we have.
Yes.
So JJ did pretty well. He was up there by himself in the dark, and again, that did sound like me, I have to admit. What do you think?
A little bit.
A little bit?
But there was no way. I mean, you could hear you come through the walkie, and it was way louder. And
yeah, you hear the static of the walkie and the cracking of me, you know. So yeah, I even admit that sounded like me. And you can actually hear JJ say, "Hey, was that you?" So that was pretty cool evidence. JJ, good job on that. Is there anything you want to tell the audience about your little solo? If you do, go ahead and throw it up in the chat.
Another thing that happened when it came to hearing your voice, we were actually packing up, getting ready to leave that night after the investigation. And Shell was headed into the other part of the building, carrying stuff toward the door, little cases of equipment. And me and JJ were packing up the big box. And me and JJ both heard it. It sounded like Shell said, "Pick up your walkie." So I picked up the walkie and I was like, "Did you say something?" And she's like, "No, I'm carrying the stuff. I'm in the other room." And me and JJ both heard it plain as day. It sounded like Shell said, "Pick up your walkie."
Yeah. So since you brought that up, let's talk about that a little bit. Because what I heard you guys say, I thought you were wanting to know if I had my walkie with me. Because, Chris, you want to tell them what happened to you first?
What happened to me?
Yeah, in the bathroom?
Oh, I forgot about that.
Yeah, it's like nice segue into the bathroom thing.
Yeah, I went to use the restroom. It was after everything was set up. Finally had a chance to take a break. JJ and Michelle were in the command center, which is like, I don't know, 40 feet away from the bathroom, but 2 rooms out, and then in the hallway down to the right. And I went to come back out of the bathroom and couldn't open the door. It wasn't locked. It wouldn't move. I hollered for them on the walkie. Right as they got to the door popped open on its own. I wasn't even touching it. I was waiting on them to get there.
So he was locked, and I believe this happened on live because Chris had an episode where he had to go to the bathroom. You guys that were on live, I'm sure you saw what happened when Chris was like, gotta go to the bathroom. But, yeah, so he went to the bathroom, and I think this happened on live, but he ended up getting locked in the bathroom. So when I went to the bathroom,
She laughed about it first off.
I thought the boys were wanting to know if I had my walkie. That's what I thought they said. And I was like, first of all, I had to dig it out of my jacket. And I was like, yeah, I have my walkie. And I was like, cool, they're worried about me being locked in the bathroom. But needless to say, that wasn't what they were talking about. They didn't care if I got locked in the bathroom or I had my walkie.
Yeah, we did. We were actually getting ready to walk that way because it dawned on both of us.
So, yeah, but later on in the night, I did get locked in the bathroom.
Wasn't funny then, was it?
No, I didn't get locked in the bathroom that particular time, but a couple trips later, I went to open the door and it would not open. And I did every different direction. I even locked or unlocked the door lock. I locked it and unlocked it back to make sure, Still could not get out. So luckily I had my walkie, and I was like, guys. And they were like, you're locked in the bathroom, aren't you? And I was like, yes. As soon as they came and got to the door, it popped open. I turned the handle and it came right open.
I didn't even touch the handle when it come open on me. It popped open about that far, and I just assumed you guys did. But when I opened it up, you were still coming up the hallway.
Yeah, when I opened the door, you guys were like literally right in front of it, but you weren't touching the handle. And I was thinking on the way to the bathroom door, I was like, well, what are they going to do to help me? The lock's on the inside. They can't do anything but bust the door down. So I'm glad that it popped open, because I was like, I don't know what I'm not climbing out the window. But, but yeah, it popped open right as they got to the door, which is crazy. It happened twice now. I thought it was funny that it happened to Chris, but then later on it happened to me. So
they said fair's fair.
Yeah, luckily we have walkies when we do these investigations. So
that's why it's always smart to keep it on you.
Yeah,
we have a policy where everybody, it don't matter what time it is, if we're all together, but your walkie stays on you at all times.
Yep. So let's talk apparitions. Let's talk about like the common ghosts in the infirmary. First of all, the third floor was, in my opinion, the most active. What do you think?
Yeah, I was getting all kinds of energy up there, hearing footsteps, and I kept hearing talking. Like I was a floor above Shell, and she was being quiet because she knew that it could interfere with the audio from my solo when I done the third floor. And multiple times, the hallway. Let's put it this way: when it goes just to the left, in front of the video, that's where the jail cell was. Behind me to the right, went down another hallway into I think it was 9 other rooms or 6 other rooms.
Mm-hmm.
But you got to go down a ramp into that level, and I could hear voices coming from there. So I turned around and focused on that area, and then everything would be coming from the area down by the jail cell. It was like whatever it was, wanted you to know it was there, but it wanted to stay out of view and behind you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, a common thing in the infirmary is chattering, talking.
Mm-hmm.
When we got there and was talking to the guide, she said she was hearing voices before we got there. So.
Oh yeah, she told us straight up. She said, "You're going to have an active night." She said, "I've heard talking the entire time I've been here," and she said, "I'm glad I'm leaving. The building's all yours. Have fun."
Yeah. So we have the third floor being the most active, and that's where most of these spirits are seen mainly. We're going to start with a little girl named Susie. Those of you who watched our live, you got to see our, what was it that we did? Ghost box session.
We done a spirit box session in there, and took some pictures, which the pictures, we didn't really get anything. Some of them were blurry for no reason. Like the camera we were using, I was taking 3-round bursts, and some of the pictures would be blurry, like 1 out of the 3 would be blurry, and there's no reason for that. So
we took pictures, but on live we did the ghost box session,
mm-hmm.
spirit box session. And you can hear Susie in there. If you didn't check our live out, go back. You'll see that she was a chatty little girl that night, wasn't she?
She wanted us to sit down too. She said, "Sit down."
No, it breaks my heart when children are involved. She didn't want us to leave, and it's always so heartbreaking when children are like that are involved. But there was a little girl named Susie. She said she'd be searching for her playmate, but also in the live session, we kind of picked up that she was searching for her mama as well. Mm-hmm. Then we have the 73-year-old woman named Jane Householder. Unfortunately, she burned alive at the infirmary when she opened a gas stove and it caught her clothing on fire. She burned pretty badly, and I believe she died 9 days later in the hospital. And then there's Willie. I don't remember much about Willie, do you?
No, not off the top of my head.
Willie, he's on the command center floor, second floor where I was at. It could have been the man I kept picking up on. I kept picking up on a man there that was just running all over the hallways, up and down the steps, up and then back down, up and back down.
That floor was full of noise. Like it was just random noises, like somebody trying to play a prank on you to get your attention. And
yeah. So let's see what we're going to pull up now. Let's get this set up another
The little spirit box session in the parlor is next.
Oh, yes. The Come At Me.
This was Shell getting communication, asking questions. It was the first spirit box session we done, actually. And you'll see what she gets you.
Well, what did I say to make them respond like that?
Talking about they could leave and make him leave.
Oh, yes. I was talking about how the spirits didn't have to be trapped there. They could actually make the superintendent leave if they wanted to. So, and then their response was, well, you'll see. All right, here we go, guys. You guys know that he doesn't control you here anymore, right? You can leave at any time. You can make him leave. Go tie him up to some chains. Alright, so as you can see, they definitely had a response to what I said. What do you think?
Yes.
So, their response was, if you didn't catch it, was, come at me. Kind of like, we took it as, come at me then, or telling the spirits to come at him. Whatever the case and whatever the context, he didn't like it.
No, he was definitely telling somebody, whether it was us or the other spirits, hey, come at me then. And
yeah.
Trying to intimidate him still to this day, even though they've passed on. And
yeah. So, let's see here. The jail cell, let's talk about that. Those of you who follow us on YouTube, Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, all of our social media channels, we will be releasing some footage from the infirmary. We already have released some already. We're going to release some for the first time during Q2 hour tonight. And then this will be a whole episode streaming on Roku and Amazon Fire TV. And we go live with that April 3rd at, I believe, 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. As long as nothing goes on, no hitches, no problems, no hiccups, we'll be live on those channels April 3rd at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. All right, so the jail cell. You'll see in our release footage, hopefully, some big evidence that we caught with that. When we first walked in, we did do this jail cell during our live. Mm-hmm. So if you caught our live, you've already seen the inside of the jail cell. But when we walked in, it was kind of crazy because the table that was in there was full of offerings.
Money, drinks,
cigarettes. There was crystals. There's selenite on the table.
Obsidian. We found rose quartz in the building.
There was teddy bears on the table. I don't know why that was the only room like that. I'm not sure why they were making offerings in that room, maybe to appease the spirits there. But that, number one, was interesting. Mm-hmm. Number two, the story behind the jail cell is, of course, the superintendent would lock up to 20 to 30 people in this little tiny room, like the size of a closet, really. 20 to 30 people in this one little room.
It was like a 10 by 10 room.
10 by 10. So, and God only knows how long they were locked up in the room for, like when they got punishment.
If you're one of the people that caught the live, we showed you the door. You could see where a little hole was cut to slide trays through to feed them. Other than that door was locked. They'd lock them in there and leave them.
So the jail cell is on the 3rd floor, one of the most active floors. And I think it's the most active room on that floor. Even though 322 is where apparitions have been seen, and we were getting noises from 322 here and there, and it was directly across from the jail cell, I think the jail cell was much more active, and we got some major proof.
You'll see the proof that we got. All three of us, I'll put it this way, felt it.
Oh, yeah, I forgot. On our live feed, you can go back and you can watch. It's on our YouTube, I believe. Or no, this time it was on our Facebook because we had technical difficulties going live. So we ended up just doing Facebook Live. But if you go back to our Facebook Live with us in the jail cell, all three of us at the same time, and first of all, we don't normally freak out. That's not what we do. We're very used to investigating in the dark. We're very used to spirit communication. These things don't bother us. However, this rare occasion, you're going to see JJ, me, and Chris, all three freak out a little bit. A little bit. I'm not saying we had like a major freak attack, but we all freaked out at the exact same time because
I wouldn't necessarily say we freaked out, but it definitely got our attention, and we all moved. And
it jolted us. I will say that. All three of us at the same time on live got touched. And at the same time, the spirit box said 3.
Yeah.
What was the question leading up to that? I can't remember.
I can't remember.
How many spirits or?
I think we said how many spirits are in this room with us right now. And the response we got, as bad as I hate to say what it said 3 demons.
Yeah, it said 3 demons, and at that exact same time, all 3 of us got touched.
Do we really think that what was in that room was a demon? No. We think it was just somebody having some fun at our expense. And
I will tell you what I feel like is going on in the infirmary later in the show. I think most people who go there assume that it's a demon or there's demons running around, and I think that plays a lot in people's minds, but I don't think that's what's going on there. But I will elaborate on that later on in the show, and I'm sure Chris has the same opinion I do, but we'll get to that a little bit later. So yeah, the jail cell was pretty productive. You want to go ahead and tell them what evidence we caught? I mean, you'll have to watch our YouTube channel and our social media channels and our Roku and stuff in order to see the actual footage. We do have it. Go ahead and set it up and tell them what happened.
The jail cell?
Yeah.
The door opened.
Yeah.
We weren't even there. We left to go get Shell because we were headed to Susie's room. And we were all going to go in there and see what we all picked up on. And everybody, even the people that caught the live, confirmed you did shut the door. And JJ said the same thing. JJ said, you asked me to step out of the way so you could make sure the door was shut.
And I believe the people who are watching our live even said, you guys shut the door.
Yeah.
So when we came back, it was closed. And that's one of the reports that go on.
No, it was open.
It was open. So it was closed to begin with, but it was open when we came back. I have a theory.
And not just a crack, not this far. It was all the way against the wall, wide open.
Mm-hmm. I have a theory that the reason they keep opening it is because they were locked in there. And, no, they can open the door. They don't want it to be closed. They don't want it to be locked. They want that door open. So if you close it, they're going to open it. Mm-hmm. That's my theory on why it keeps opening.
I agree. Now they know that they can actually get out and move around.
Yeah, they can open that door. So yeah, we did catch that. So you're going to have to check out our YouTube channel, especially. We usually release stuff there first, video-wise, evidence-wise. We have Twitter, we have TikTok, we have YouTube, we have Facebook. Jeez, is that all of them? I hope that's all of them. And plus we have the streaming coming up on the 3rd. So this will all be one episode, and it will be streamable on the streaming services. So
very soon, everyone.
Mm-hmm. So the 73-year-old woman, Jane Householder, who burned in the unfortunate fire accident, we didn't really pick up on her, and she may, if she is there, may be residual, but I didn't pick up on her as being an active spirit there. What about you?
No, not at all.
No, and I have read reports where not many people ever see her either, so I didn't pick up on her personally. Not saying she's not there, but I didn't pick up on her personally.
I never did. Like at one point I was walking around that area where they said it supposedly happened, and I never picked up on even that kind of energy being there. So hopefully she's either not there and moved on, or it's just a residual imprint of what happened that people get every once in a while, and she's not actually still there going through the same thing where she passed away.
Okay, so we talked about Jane. Willie, we didn't really, I think that might have been who I was picking up on command center floor. I could smell him. He had a bad smell, but he kept running up and down the steps, going downstairs, back up to my floor, upstairs where the boys were, then back down. Then he was around my table. Then he was jetting down the hallway in front of me. Very full of energy, I can say that, if that was Willie. I didn't get names that night because I was paying attention to Command Center, and when I'm distracted, I don't do very well with things like names and really honing in on.
No, we have to catch all the butterflies and everything before we leave her at Command Center.
Oh, you're funny. All right, guys. All right, so Chris and the Chains. This is Chris's solo investigation. We labeled it Chris and the Chains because he was in the attic, and that is commonly what the room is referred to, because the chains are up there that the superintendent used to punish the patients. So, those of you who are subscribed to our YouTube probably already got notice that this was released. It is about a 10-minute solo investigation with Chris up in the attic, and when it's streaming, when we get the streaming episode up, the entire episode, you will get to see the security footage alongside of what Chris was doing in his investigation. What I got to see, which was orbs shooting straight in front of him and behind him at the same time he was reporting that he was hearing footsteps behind him. I would see an orb that would shoot straight from the floor in a straight line straight to the ceiling. And 90% of the time, it's mostly dust, right?
Yeah.
Or bugs. You can, almost 90% of the time, the orbs you think you see are dust or bugs. But these were not. They were shooting straight up in front of him and behind him. And then there towards the end, when he got not a nice message, there was an actual orb with a light trail on it about this long, and it was circling his feet. And then that's when he decided he had had enough and he was done with the solo investigation.
Yeah, I got a pretty nasty response to the last question I asked.
So for those people who have not seen that YouTube footage or would like to go look at it, tell them a little bit about what happened.
When I first got up there, it was pretty quiet. Before I started actually investigating, I snapped, I think, 6 to 8 pictures of the attic, different directions. I shot some toward where it goes up to the tower where they would light a candle or a lantern, either one. I shot some back where the shadow figure was captured, and I shot some back where the orphans were kept. And then I started investigating using the spirit box, as well as picking up on what I could hear with my actual ears around me. And I could hear footsteps. Every once in a while I could hear a voice. A couple of times I thought it was Shell, which I knew better, because her and JJ were both at Command Center at the time. And
I think JJ was up one floor. No, you're right. He was down one floor.
Mm-hmm.
He was on the 3rd floor. I was on the 2nd.
All right. But I knew it wasn't them. There was no way, because it was coming back from where, if you're standing in the attic, you can go left when you walk in, you can go right, or you can kind of go in an angle and it goes back into a corridor. And the noise was coming from that corridor, but it still sounded like Shell's voice, which I knew it wasn't. Something just mimicking her and trying to get me to go back there. But the footsteps were the craziest thing when it came to activity that I picked up on myself while I was there, that I could audibly hear, other than stuff coming through the spirit box. But I mean, it'd be in the back far corner toward where the shadow figure was, in the right corner of that side. It would be up toward the right corner, and you could hear it, and it would slowly come toward you. Or something would come from this side, and it would sound like it was running, but you could tell it wasn't a full-grown person. It sounded more like a kid's footsteps, like they were playing, running. I mean, but the spirit box sessions where it really started communicating and answering a couple of things. And the last message I got said, "You're going to die," and that's when I just cut it right there. I wasn't trying to communicate with something that wanted to be a jerk.
And that was when I was seeing the orb circling his feet with the light trail about that long on it, which again, you'll see it in the full episode. We'll have it screen, hopefully, screen split, where you can see what I was seeing versus what he was experiencing. So the orbs, along with what he was experiencing, along with the ghost box, the spirit box, it was pretty interesting solo investigation. We're not going to show that tonight in the Q2 hour because it is on our YouTube channel. Our YouTube channel is Q2 Paranormal, I believe.
Search Q2 Paranormal,
Yeah.
It'll bring it right up.
At Q2 Paranormal, I think is how you do it. And you'll be able to see his full 10-minute solo investigation. And then when we stream our episode from the infirmary, you'll get to see it what I saw at command center versus what he was experiencing. But yeah, he decided to come down, and that was the end of the solo investigation. And
There's no reason to try to communicate with a jerk. All he wanted to do was give nasty responses. You could tell that it was a human spirit, but whatever it was, just wanted to be a jerk and pull your chain, and wasn't going to answer anything you asked.
And one thing, what kept drawing my attention up there when I was up there was the little lookout that's on the top of the building. You can see it in our photos and our drone footage even. Hopefully we got some inside footage of it.
I didn't shoot the actual tower. I didn't go up the steps because there was nothing to hold on to. But I shot around it in the staircase. And
I wanted to go up because it kept pulling my attention for some reason. But there was only 3 of us. Unfortunately, we had very short notice on this location. So we were not able to pull Brittany down fast enough to go with us. So we had to cover 41,000 square feet between 3 people. So we didn't have time to really go up there. But I did find out that particular little area played into the Underground Railroad. Did you know that?
No, I didn't know that till we got back and you were doing research.
Yeah, because we don't do research till after we come back home. But yeah, it was involved in the Underground Railroad, and they would light a candle and take it up to the little lookout, and that way people would know that it was safe to stop there to rest and stay there during those times. So yeah, even this building even has Underground Railroad connections. So that was the chains, and then also on that floor was the chicken coop.
That's what they referred to it as, but
And
it was actually where they kept the orphans.
was it where they kept the orphans? Because I think they kept inmates.
They kept orphans in that area. The area that had the chains in the wall, excuse me, is where they had inmates at.
So they had the inmates right next to the orphans.
Not just inmates,
And
but
pedophiles. Pedophiles right next to the orphans. And JJ kept talking about the chicken coop a lot when we were there. So JJ, if you have any comments about the chicken coop, throw them up for our fans to read. But so that was the top floor, and very interesting stuff. I think now what we're going to do is we're going to go and look through some of the key photos that we have that we pulled for tonight's show. There's a photo of the casket room, which I called the parlor because it was set up just like a funeral home. A casket in the front, a piano there, and then really nice seating, and then the room was sectioned with folding doors, just like in a funeral home. That was one of the pictures of the white dress. You want to tell them about the white dress because you didn't get to do it on live.
I was going to mess with everybody. I wanted to get a photo of it, and I was going to edit it and make it look all creepy. There was this mannequin with a white dress on it that belonged to a lady. The picture was beside the dress.
Mm-hmm.
But I wanted to get a creepy picture of it, but it was just sitting in the middle of a hallway beside this piano, and it was just creepy sitting there. But I wanted to make a super creepy picture to mess with people.
Yeah, he wouldn't let me show it on live. He's like, no, don't show it.
I haven't got the picture done yet.
But yeah, that's in there. Photos of JJ and Chris on the grand staircase of the building. We have photos of the big booby doll that Chris found.
Not Chris. This photo you're going to see is Shell's photo from her cell phone.
Oh yeah, I found it too, but Chris of course liked the big booby doll.
No, Chris was taking pictures of all the dolls.
You'll see mirrors in a lot of our footage and stuff from this place because there was mirrors and dolls everywhere. There was a doll almost as tall as me. You'll see that picture in here as well. So let's go ahead and look and have a little look-see at the couple pictures we pulled for the show tonight. All right, guys, let's take a look. So here's Chris's big booby doll.
That's Titmouse.
He calls it Titmouse, but you can clearly see the doll on the right is well endowed. We got a kick out of that. Then we got here with JJ up on one of the top floors.
Had to go left, right, up the stairs.
Yeah. Now we're going to look at the casket, which I should have got a picture inside of that thing. It was gross, wasn't it?
Yes.
It totally looked like the casket had been pulled out of the ground out there. It was very disturbing, but that was in the parlor room. Then we have here the morgue sink basin, where they actually would wash the bodies and the vegetables in the same basin. Yeah, very, very grody. That was the sink basin.
Your vegetables come super clean.
Yeah. And then we have the picture of the white dress, the lady, the mannequin in the white dress. I picked up that this lady might have been the superintendent's wife, although we have no clarification on that. We don't know if that's true or not. So yeah, guys, those are the photos that we chose to show you tonight on Q2 Hour. All right, guys, so I hope you enjoyed those photos more. How many do you think you took?
I think I took 211 or 212 photos.
Yeah, so we have plenty of photos to go over later when we release more footage of the infirmary. Now what we want to do is give JJ a moment to throw up any last minute commentary that he'd like to say about his experience at the infirmary. JJ, go ahead and do that. And then we're going to play one more clip. I believe it's 5 minutes long, so bear with us, but it is worth it. It is us in the parlor with the casket. I was just talking about that room.
No, that's not that one.
Oh, it's at the office, right? Okay, it is the office of the superintendent. What we've been told is the office. However, the spirits in the room
said otherwise. They
kept telling us it was something not the office.
You're really going to enjoy this video.
Yeah, so
this was, in my book, one of the best spirit box sessions we've ever had.
Yeah.
Like, this was direct. There was some of these responses, I would say there was less than a split second. It was, as soon as you asked it, answered.
Yeah. And you're going to laugh because we did make a funny in this. You're also going to see the aggression that I talked about earlier on our social media channels, that this session ended in aggression. So you're going to see what I meant by that. It was just a wave of energy that came up behind me. It started at my feet, came all the way up to my head, and I believe the same thing with you.
Oh yeah, I felt it instantly.
I felt it instantly, and we decided that was enough. And we're probably going to title this clip on YouTube as Enough. So,
JJ, I'm sorry. I had to leave this part in here, buddy.
All right, guys. So here we go. We're going to watch Enough.
Enjoy the clip.
Enjoy it, guys.
Let me know when you want me to start spirit box.
No. Shell, how are you feeling?
Cold, but other than that, hoping we can talk to this guy here, the superintendent.
How about you, Chris?
Yeah, I feel a presence already. I feel like it just entered the room. Definitely a male presence. And part of my language, he seems a little bit like a prick.
Well, he thinks the same of you, if that's any consolation.
Oh, I know he does. He doesn't like the fact that I've told residents here that they don't have to stay here any longer.
Something just touched my hand.
You can't touch us. You gotta stay away. You're not allowed to touch us.
The only thing you can do is communicate with us.
So you were down here. You had a nice office. Down where they were cutting up body parts and washing vegetables in the same sink as dead bodies. And you were down here just watching it all. You took people out from fields to beat them. Is that right? Are you the reason there's 1,000 people out there in that field?
Why is it that most people who checked in never checked out? Is that the way you intended it to be?
I'm going to snap some pictures of them, right?
Yeah.
How you guys do? Because it's not black, I'm just going to say black. It is. Hold the button halfway, see how it does that? Really push it.
The camera's making you angry, isn't it?
That's what I was getting when I was watching you guys on the security cameras. I feel like every time the camera went off, something got angry.
I just saw a shadow figure go through that light in the hallway right there.
You want to come in here with us and check? Even though you were an evil person, huh?
Keep going, I'll take pictures of it.
Even though you were an evil person and done some really, really nasty things, we mean no harm to you. We come here to communicate.
But it's not right of you to control these people even now.
No.
You need to let them go.
Maybe you should go on yourself.
Yeah. JJ just pooped his pants a little.
What?
She said mad?
Yeah.
Why are you mad? Can you tell me where we're at in the building?
You're
This room that I'm in, what is it?
It said the morgue. Didn't it?
That's what I kind of heard of it. Can you tell me what this office is? Or this room? It looks like an office to me. Am I wrong? Yes.
Yes.
Then what was it?
morgue.
Morgue.
Yep.
Yeah. So this, did they store bodies in here till they were ready to take them over there?
I don't see how they could from the looks of this room. I mean,
Was this a morgue, or is this the floor of the morgue?
do you regret what you've done? This table's not old.
The little kid said no.
No, I said that table's not old.
No, but the little kid said no. When you said you regret what you did.
Well, you shouldn't. You're a child. There's no reason for you to regret.
Does the superintendent regret what he did? Just say stop.
The superintendent said it's time for you to go.
I thought I heard move on.
Huh?
I thought I heard something say you need to move on.
Is he talking about Chris when it says time for you to go? Why do you not like Chris? You don't like your secret being uncovered, do you?
Or was it a secret? Did you get told on?
Did you get pleasure out of what you've done to these people? Abusing your power?
Yes.
You know, that's sick. Anybody that would take pleasure in abusing these people
And children.
and children and the people with mental disabilities, try to be completely ashamed of yourself.
You need to quit holding their spirits here and let them move on.
Here. That was weird.
That was definitely an older voice.
Did you die here? Or were you fired?
Did the people in this community speak out against you?
Yes.
That was multiple, yes. What about the little boy?
Enough.
I thought it said get out.
I heard enough.
It said enough.
And that chill went right up my back. That was very plain enough. So, guys, what did you think about the clip? What did you think about that ending?
What do you think about that energy that came from the ending of that?
And let me tell you, you could feel it. Like, I felt it at the same time it said enough. And it meant enough.
I don't care if you have abilities or not, you would have felt the energy shift in that room that night.
Yeah, and I think JJ may have pooped his pants a little bit.
Maybe.
But
He might have done a little duty. Sorry about that, JJ,
But
we had to give everybody a laugh as well.
You're going to see a lot more in our social media channels, especially YouTube. And again, we're streaming starting the 3rd on Roku and Amazon Fire TV. And then On the Haunt will be coming out pretty soon as well. So lots of exciting things to look forward to here at Q2 Paranormal.
Thank all of you for watching with us.
Yeah.
Hope you're enjoying
Is there any last comments you want to say about this place? Oh, yes. I do want to tell them our final thoughts on the location. Now, most ghost hunters would go here and be like, not a lot of in-your-face activity. And I have to admit that a lot of places we have gone to has produced a lot more equipment evidence. And by that I mean REM pod activity, EVP, and we do have EVPs and stuff. But it seems more like either they're tired of performing for people because they have ghost hunts quite frequently there, or what I feel is a lot of it is a residual haunting. And residual means it's like a playback of time. It's not an intelligent spirit. I think the key spirits like Susie and Willie and the shadow figure, I think they are intelligent.
I think the spirit that was in the basement during that SD session, that spirit box session you just watched, was intelligent.
Yes.
Definitely, you seen it was snappy with the responses.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't something that was like a loop being played over and over again.
Yeah, I do think the superintendent there he is there, the evil one. And the good one might be as well. I felt at times that maybe we were persecuting or talking to the good one as if he was the bad one.
That was the one in the parlor. And I think that we assumed that because it said superintendent in that room, because it was before we knew either one of their names or anything about either one of them, we just assumed that it was the nasty dude that done all the stuff that the people went against and rebelled against. And
yeah, so I think he's intelligent. But as for the talking that you constantly hear, and kind of like when I was on command center, I felt like that was a residual going up and down the hallway in front of me. I did get REM pod activity going on command center when you boys were upstairs doing your thing. But I really do think, and I think the reason people think it's a demon or demons is because so many bad things have happened there. So many people and so many tragedies happen, and so much depression going on and sadness that sometimes when you have this all locked into one area, it kind of forms this big ball of just, I don't even know how to describe it, like this big nasty blob of emotion, of sadness, of tragedy, and it all just sits in there and festers until it creates its own entity. And that's what happens. And I think that's the case here. I think it's all locked inside these walls, and it has just created its own monster. And I think that's what it is. It's not demonic. It's not an elemental. I just think it's a product of everything that has happened there.
I think it's just a build up over time, leftover stain of the negative energy from people suffering and everything else that took place there.
And we didn't mention it early in the show, but behind this infirmary, which we do have drone footage of that as well, is a graveyard with maybe 4 or 5 headstones, would you say?
Yeah.
But there's over 1,000 people buried there.
Unclaimed
bodies, or people who didn't have the money to go to another cemetery plot. People who were born, lived, and died there are in that cemetery. And 99% of them are in unmarked graves.
There's a
So
lot of sadness around this place. And
it really is like a funk, like a black mark, like it's been labeled. When you walk in, it's like you can just smell it. Not physically, but you could just, I don't know, I don't even know how to describe it. But it's bad in there, emotion wise and tragedy wise. But overall, we enjoyed it. We had fun. We were treated very well.
yes.
We had a working bathroom, which is awesome, even though we kept getting locked in it. That just added to the whole night and the experience. Those of you
I
who
would definitely recommend people to go there and investigate. I mean, there's definitely activity there. If you're looking for evidence, you will get it. I don't think it's the type of evidence a lot of people want. It's not the stuff you're going to capture on equipment, really. It's more of EVP stuff that you're going to look back on. And
yeah.
I mean, yeah, we got the cell door opening. There was that kind of stuff, but that's not going to be a constant thing. Like, you're not going to have a constant video of a half hour of activity from any of it.
Mm-hmm.
It's just going to be here and there. You're going to get that energy that's intelligent, that will communicate with you and can access the devices to show the communication.
Yeah.
It just depends on where you're at.
So again, guys, if you didn't catch our live from the Fairfield County, is that it? Fairfield
County Infirmary.
Yeah, if you did not catch our live, it is on Facebook. You can watch the entire hour and a half we did experiments and spirit session with Susie and other parts of the infirmary. That's on Facebook. You can go to our YouTube and you can catch our release footage on there, and then you can check us out on Roku and Amazon TV for the full episode next week. So without further ado, we would love to thank you guys for coming. Really quickly, though, I do have winners for everything except Instagram, because I didn't get a chance to get on Instagram beforehand, but I will post this for the Instagram users. Our sweepstakes winners for this week, we have drawn from Twitter, Lisa, from Facebook, Tracy Main, from TikTok, Michaela Polly, and then again, I have to pull for Instagram, and I will post that later after the show. So we want to thank you guys. All you have to do is like, comment, share our stuff, and you get a sweepstake entry for each time you do that, even comments on all of our social media. We do want to play for you our red filter pick challenge after the show. Please feel free to enter that, because the winner gets a cameo on an upcoming episode of On the Haunt and some really cool fan gear. So definitely pay attention to that. Again, JJ, if there's anything you want to say, throw it up. We thank you guys for coming for Q2 Hour. We are on every Friday evening at 10 p.m., no matter where in the country we are at the time.
Thank all of you for your love and support that you continue to show us over the years.
Yes.
Without you, this wouldn't have been possible. So.
Yes, and Brittany, we love you, and we can't wait to see you very soon. JJ, we love you. We love all of you. Thank you guys again. Mwah. Good night.
Later, guys.